What's up everyone, my name's PlatinumHowler, coach of your Coquitlam Red Gyarados, and today I am bringing you my Week 4 match of the PCL D-League versus Lieutenant Gold aka Dorian of the Victory Road Victinis. You can see his team on the right side of the screen. His two Z users are Latios and Kecleon. So we are playing this game on Sunday of the week that this is supposed to be played, and I built this team on Sunday as well. So I needed to get it done quickly, and I wanted to try to work some mons in that I haven't had the opportunity to use yet. So what we ended up with was a very hyper offensive build. As you will see, all 6 of our mons have 252 EVs in either its attack or special attack stats. So without further ado, we are going to lead off with our Coco once again. This time it's going to be Air Balloon with Defog. So his ground types are very threatening against my team. They're basically the only 2 answers that are like semblance of switch-ins that he has to my Staraptor. And of course, you know, it's no secret that my team is very weak to ground types in general. So we have the Air Balloon to guarantee be a one-time switch in to the Crocodile and or the GLIGAR, and we'll be able to keep rocks off the field, threaten them with U-turn, hidden power, ice, and then we just have Thunderbolt to hit the rest of his team hard in general, and just enough speed to outspeed his superior. We want to do our best to keep rocks off the field because this man has absolutely no switch-in to Staraptor. His flying resist is Jolteon. That is not a switch-in, my friends. His only switch-in to this, really, as I said, are the 2 ground types if they're built defensively. Crocodile can have Intimidate to lower my attack and take less damage from my Brave Bird. And he can run Rocky Helmet on that, but if he's going with GLIGAR, he's probably going to have a Violate over Rocky Helmet. So GLIGAR only takes about 40% from a Brave Bird. So if I can get my own rocks up and get him weakened with my other team members, then that's going to be nice, because yeah, this thing just goes in. This is an Adamant though, Adamant with max speed, because I'm taking a little bit of a gamble that he won't bring a speed boosting nature Genesect. Well, he might. Like, if he does, then I don't think it's going to be a Scarf set to outspeed my Staraptor, because, you know, I could easily be running Jolly Scarf max speed to outspeed him guaranteed, but taking a little bit of a gamble there. I want to see if I can get the most damage off as possible with an Adamant Staraptor set. So Staraptor is designed to be an early game breaker that can hopefully break the likes of GLIGAR to open the door for Hitmonlee to come in, activate its Unburden, and clean up the game. Obviously, we can't design Staraptor as our win con to just beat everything, because eventually it will get worn down. Eventually it will get put into rage to die from certain priority moves that he has on his team. So we're going to try to use that early game to weaken the things that check this Hitmonlee. Knockoff mainly for the Jellicent, can also get rid of the GLIGAR's Violate if that were to be a switch in to Hitmonlee, but hopefully GLIGAR is very much weakened by the time Hitmonlee comes in. Close combat, poison jab, and then the last move I didn't really need anything in particular. I just have the Mach Punch there to out-prioritize any form of priority he might want to try to hit me with. Say he has a Kecleon that tries to go for a Shadow Sneak, that will turn into a Ghost type thanks to its protein. Then I can hit it with a Mach Punch as a normal type before it goes for its Shadow Sneak. So that'll be helpful. Hopefully, we'll see. Next we have Shukaberry Heatran. Heatran is basically our switch into Superior Mega Gardevoir. It's nice that it quad resists Hyper Voice from Gardevoir and Leaf Storm from Superior. Then we can eat our Shukaberry to make sure we don't die to an obvious hidden power ground. hit them back very hard with Flamethrower and or Flash Cannon. Gardevoir actually won't be OHKO'd by Max Special Attack Flash Cannon because it has very, very good natural bulk on the special side. So at the very least, we'll get damage off for the likes of Staraptor, so that Staraptor doesn't take as much recoil from damage it might have to do to it. The nice thing about Heatran too is even if Hidden Power Ground is very obvious, I can always use that as an opportunity to just go into Heatran, eat a hit, and then switch out immediately into my Staraptor, anticipating a Hidden Power Ground. If he goes for that, then that's great. I get Staraptor in for free and I can get damage off. But if he goes into something that checks it, that's fine. I still took no damage from that turn and I can U-turn out into the appropriate response. Next up, we have our Excelgor, which we're bringing for the first time. And Excelgor is going to be Sticky Hold rather than Unburdened, so that it can switch into a potential knockoff from a Crocodile. It won't get its item knocked off, and it won't take maximum damage from knockoff. I could have chose to go Modest with enough speed for the Superior and chose not to outspeed the Jolteon. Or I could have gone Timid with enough speed for the Jolteon. But instead what I did is I'm going to try a Timid set that I only need 4 EVs on a Timid set to guarantee outspeed a Superior. And then I'm just going to go max HP, max special attack so that I can max HP so I can take a couple hits. Like I may be able to switch into a Superior's Leaf Storm, Crocodile's Knockoff, that kind of thing. So yeah, I just kind of want to see how well a max HP Excelgor can do here. Giga Drain is mainly for the Jellicent. I know that Excelgor gets Energy Ball, but I want to make sure that I'm gaining health back while doing damage to him, because Energy Ball, like if he's a max special defense set, Energy Ball is like not 2-hit KOing him. So Giga Drain recovery there is going to be nice to help me beat that thing 1v1. Bug Buzz, you know, hits his team generally hard. We have Knockoff and Hidden Power Fire. So his Gligar can actually very easily come in against this Excelgor because I don't have Hidden Power Ice. So my best thing to do against the Gligar is just to knock it off and get rid of its Violate so that my Staraptor is 2-hit KOing it. But if he also switches into the Genesect against this Excelgor, and I get rid of his potential Choice Scarf or any other item that he might have, then he's going to be vulnerable to Hidden Power Fire from my Excelgor, and he can't just do whatever he wants in front of me. And last but not least, we have our Golurk. Our Tier 5 Z Captain is coming with a Z move this week, and this is going to be our dedicated lead in this game. Basically, I wanted to have something that matched up well against Jolteon, Genesect, Crocodile, and Gligar. Those are the 4 most likely leads that I would think he would have against me. Gligar and Crocodile being his Stealth Rockers, I want to make sure I can get those. I can weaken those very easily, and then just matches up well against Jolteon because it prevents him from Volt Switching. Yes, he could have Shadow Ball, but he would more than likely think that he wouldn't be able to KO me with 1 Shadow Ball, so he would probably be threatened out. And then thanks to my Ghost typing, I resist Genesect's U-turn. And because I have a ton of defense investment, he won't get the download boost in attack and do even more damage to me. Now, the problem is if he gets the special attack download boost and has Ice Beam, which I'm not entirely sure if he would run against me, then that will probably knock me out. But if we, maybe we can predict that and go into the Heatran, and then we can get our rocks up for free or something like that. So all of this defense investment is going to help us live an Adamant Banded knockoff from a Crocodile. unless he gets a absolute maximum roll against us. And even through the Intimidate, we should be able to OHKO it with an all-out pummeling. Then we have Iron Fisted boosted Ice Punch for the GLIGAR, Iron Fist boosted Shadow Punch for the Jellicent, and just Earthquake to hit the rest of his team hard in general. That's going to be the team that we're going to bring this week. Very hyper-offensive. I'm curious to see how I can manage with this type of team. I know there are some things that I wish I had more answers to, that I definitely could have brought answers to them, but I just decided to take my build in a very different direction this time. So hopefully it pays off and we can snag our 3rd win in a row in the PCL D-League. So I'll see you back with the battle. Here we are back with the battle, and looking at Dorian's team, I'm looking at the 4 Mons that I figured he might want to possibly lead with. Those ones being Crocodile, GLIGAR, Genesect, or Jolteon. And we don't see the Genesect or Jolteon, we do see both of the ground types. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to catch one of those ground types with my designated Golurk lead. I also noticed that he has the Salazzle, which was definitely a Mon that I kind of overlooked in prep. Again, I did this prep really quickly. I was doing it on the day of the battle, so I wanted to get it done. And for the most part, I kind of like discounted Salazzle. I was more looking at Superior as a bigger threat to my team. I probably was mistaken in that because I don't know. I mean, Salazzle is actually faster than Superior, so a lot of my speed investment had to do with like outspeeding Superior and taking hits from Superior as opposed to Salazzle. So that thing's kind of sketching me out a little bit. And the other 2 Mons that he has decided to leave on the bench are the Jellicent, which means my Excelgor set is not really that great because Giga Drain is there, and Giga Drain doesn't really hit anything particularly hard. And he also doesn't have the Kecleon, which could have been a potential hazard setter for him. So, as I said, I'm going to go ahead and lead with my Golurk and hope to catch him, hope to get a favorable lead matchup against either of his presumed leads. And lo and behold, there is the Crocodile. So, our Golurk's going to be out, and he is not going to intimidate us, so revealing that he's likely Moxie, and he's just going to go straight for the knockoff. Definitely not banded, as we take that very easily, and we would have been able to KO him with just a regular superpower right here because he doesn't actually have the Intimidate. So, but I mean, we have the Z move specifically to take this Crocodile out, so of course we're going to go for it here. And this Crocodile, the only way he survives pretty much is if he's a Sash lead, which he's not. He is going to go down on turn 1, and that's really good for us. So now his decision, he can bring in almost anything to get a KO on me here, except for the Conch. I would probably outspeed that and get a lot of damage off. He actually brings in the Salazzle and risks a Fire Blast miss against me, which was kind of surprising to me. In the end, I could have gone out into this Heatran pretty easily, but I was afraid of him maybe being a sub-toxic set, and he would have been able to toxic my Heatran thanks to Corrosion, so I just decided to let Golurk go down there. And if he had missed that Fire Blast, he would have been in really big trouble because that Salazzle would have dropped like 4 or 5 times to an Earthquake. 4 or 5 times over it would have dropped. But anyway, we got our Stealth Rocks up with the Heatran, and now we have our Excelgor in here to knock off the GLIGAR's Violate, as he reveals to have knockoff, so he has a hit. So we know that he has a move that can break Coco's balloon before it can hit us with an Earthquake, so we have to be careful about that. And then on the next turn, he's going to get up his own Stealth Rocks and go for a Roost the next turn, basically to scout us out. I guess scouting for any super effective coverage that I might have for him. But unfortunately, I don't have the Hidden Power Ice for this thing. My best move to hit it is Giga Drain. I wish now, in hindsight, it would have been really nice to have the Hidden Power Ice to 1v1 this GLIGAR, but of course I have the Hidden Power Fire for the Genesect that didn't come. So now I'm deciding to leave my Excelgor in here, not really preserving it very well. I'm very low. I'm down very low, and now I'm going for Bug Buzz to kind of like fish for special defense drops. But right here, I probably should have predicted his Roost and gone into my Coco, because I know that I have the air balloon. I know that he's not knocking me out. He has to stay in and go for a knockoff to get rid of the balloon if he wants to be able to hit me. So I probably should have been preserving this Excelgor, gone into the Coco predicting a Roost, playing more aggressively with a hyper-offensive team, so I could defog his rocks away, pressure this GLIGAR out. He does have his Violite gone, so that's going to help us break through him later in the game. But instead, I just leave my Excelgor in to do very pitiful amounts of damage, and I just let it go down eventually to the GLIGAR, which may come back to haunt us later in the game. But we get our Coco in for free and then go for the defog, so we didn't even force him to break the balloon. Like, we still have our balloon intact, but I'm thinking that this Salazzle might be some sort of choice set, so I don't want to risk my Tapu Koko here, because I need my terrain later on in the game for Hitmonlee to get its Unburden boost. So we make the pivot into Heatran, and then he's going to go for Hidden Power Ground, revealing that he is not choiced, and judging by this Flamethrower damage against him, it's looking like he is definitely Assault Vest in my mind, because I'm a very offensive Heatran. I would have expected that to do a lot more to Salazzle being as frail as it is. So unfortunately, he was able to pop my Shuckaberry, and I probably should have made this switch before he had the opportunity to do that, because this Brave Bird is going to be more than enough to take out the Salazzle. And now, since we have this Staraptor in, we are definitely going to see some Mons drop very fast around here, because this is a Staraptor and he has no flying resist. So the Mega Gardevoir is coming in here basically just to be sacked off, because there is no way in hell he is going to be able to take a Brave Bird from this Staraptor. So that is a dead Gardevoir. Brings it for the first. I think it's funny. This is the first time that he's brought it to a match, and it just gets clean OHKO'd by Staraptor, and he won't be coming to any more matches for him because he had actually dropped it. He has a different Mega after this week. And now this GLIGAR is going to come in and go down to my Staraptor as well, which is great, because that's the thing that I needed gone for Hitmonlee to put in work later in the game. I knew that was going to kill because he appeared to be very specially defensive based on the damage that my Excelgor was doing to him, and he has lost his Violite now, so I felt comfortable staying in there and just going for a Brave Bird to knock him out. But the Conkeldurr comes in and picks off my Staraptor with a Mach Punch. I definitely, like, it was the Mach Punch there was so obvious, and I could have easily switched out to try and preserve my Staraptor, but that's a play that I just didn't make. I didn't pull the trigger on it. It would have been kind of a, I don't know, like, I'm not sure if that would have paid off for me in the end, but like, in hindsight, Heatran wasn't really doing a whole lot for me. I was basically banking on Heatran being able to take a hit from Latios later on, but instead I just let my Staraptor go down, then I get my Coco in for the terrain. Hit him with 2 Thunderbolts, but he's actually able to 1v1 my Coco because he appears to be a Assault Vest Conkeldurr as well. Now he's going to crit me with a Mach Punch through my defense boost from the Electric Seed, but it doesn't really matter as long as I get the KO on this Conkeldurr and forces Latios to come in. That then Hitmonlee's all good. It's in decent enough shape. Now we're going to go for a knockoff, and it does about 60% to the Latios, not as much as I needed it to do. I kind of needed to hope for an OHKO there, but it doesn't do. It doesn't do enough because he is holding a Z crystal, so knockoff isn't at its highest base power possible. And instead, he's gonna be able to live that easily and KO me with the Tectonic Rage, which was definitely a bit of an overkill play. He didn't need the Z move to knock me out there with just a regular Earthquake, because I was at neutral defense, and you know, Hitmonlee is super frail. But and now the regular Earthquake, because my Shuka Berry is popped, is going to be able to knock out my Heatran. I am pretty sure if my Shuka Berry wasn't already popped, that he would have been able to knock me out with the Tectonic Rage regardless. So yeah, we're going to lose this game 1-0 to Dorian. Very good game to him, and his links, as always, will be in the description for you guys. So this was a very good example of a hyper offense team that was not executed very well on my part. The only reason why this game was so close was because Staraptor is a monster and he had no answer to it. In order for hyper-offensive teams like mine to work as they're intended, they need to be played aggressively. You need to play near perfectly. You need to be able to be on top of your prediction game and, you know, not be fearful of pulling the trigger on certain plays, and I did not play optimally in that regard. As you saw, Latios was the one mon left for him late in the game, and I did not make an effort to preserve some of my other mons that could have outsped that and got the final damage off that it needed against it. Instead, I just let my Heatran hang around, hoping that it might be able to get the last little bit of damage off, but like, of course the Latios isn't going to be walled by my Heatran. I would be foolish to think that he wouldn't have any sort of coverage, such as Earthquake, let alone a Tectonic Rage to beat my Heatran. Couple things I could have done. I could have saved Excelgor, tried to be more aggressive in predicting what turn that the Gligar might roost so I could get Coco in for free, defog the rocks away, force him out with a Hidden Power Ice. But just didn't play aggressive enough and let Excelgor go down far too easily. I did have the Bug Buzz on the Excelgor, so I could have outsped his Latios and knocked him out with the Bug Buzz after I got the damage from Hitmonlee's knockoff. I also could have chose to save Staraptor, which was Choice Scarfed and could have outsped the Latios. But instead, I let it go down to Conkeldur's Mach Punch, when I could have just brought in Heatran and let him take my Heatran out, because Heatran was not doing anything there to the Conkeldurr and Latios that he had remaining. If I had either of those two mons in the back, the end game would have been much more interesting, because he was actually a Dragon Dance Latios set, and if he had gone for a Dragon Dance there on the turn that Hitmonlee hit him with a knockoff, he actually would have outsped my Hitmonlee afterwards at +1 speed. He would have outsped Hitmonlee after getting its Unburden, because I had only given my Hitmonlee enough EVs to outspeed a Scarfed Genesect. I did not have enough speed to outspeed a Scarfed Latios. I easily could have, but that's just something that I just decided to go against in prep, and that would have been my fault if he was able to win the game with Dragon Dance Latios there, because otherwise, if I was still faster than him, I would have been able to 2-hit KO him with the knockoff. And if he just didn't go for a Dragon Dance, then I could have come in with whichever mon between Excelgor or Staraptor I had left. I might have even had both left, and I might have been able to win that game 2-0 possibly, if I had both of them left. But instead, I just played too passively this game and did not preserve the things that I needed to. And all things considered, I will kind of, I can't really be too upset with a 1-0 loss considering the way that I played. I really have to thank Staraptor for just, having an insane matchup here that When it got in, it just got 3 kills back to back to back, and that really helped me keep this loss down to a 1-0, honestly. 7 kills in 2 games played now for Staraptor. That is pretty darn impressive. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more PCL D-League uploads. Next week, week 5, we will be taking on Pokeclips and his Atlanta Aerodactyls, so make sure you tune in for that one. We'll see you next time.